We're going to look now at compound measures. So there's three that you need to look at. In this video, we'll look at density and speed. And then the other one that you have to do is pressure. So our first one then is density. Now you might have covered this already in science. So our formula for density equals mass over volume. Something that we need to be careful about are the units. If the mass is in grams and the volume is in centimeters cubed, then our density will be in grams per centimeter cubed. If the mass is in kilograms, that means our volume will be in meters cubed and our density will be in kilograms per meter cubed. So you have to check that your units are in the correct pairing. So it either has to be all the ones in red or all the ones in green. Right. You may again have used these in science or in technology. So the density equals mass over volume, formula triangle. So this helps you figure out what sum you're going to do. So what you have to do, whatever you're looking to find, you cover it over and that'll give you the sum that you're having to do. So if we want to find the density, cover it over and we're left with our sum is mass divided by volume. If we want to find the volume, cover it over and we're left with the sum mass over density. And if we want to find the mass, cover it over and we're left with the sum density times volume. Our first question then, find the density if the mass is 250 grams and the volume is 25 centimeters cubed. So think about your formula, triangle, DMV, and we say, okay, we're looking for density, so cover it over. So it's going to be mass divided by volume. So our density, and write out the formula then that we're going to use, mass divided by volume. So our mass is 250, our volume is 25. So divide and we get 10, and then we'll have to think about the units. So it's grams and centimeters cubed. So our units for density are grams per centimeter cubed. Number 2, find the mass if the density is 2.4 kilograms per meter cubed and the volume is 12 meters cubed. So we want to find the mass, so cover that over in a triangle. So the sum that we have then for mass is density multiplied by volume. So our density is 2.4, our volume is 12, so we'll multiply that and we'll get 28.8. So mass, remember, is going to be in kilograms or grams. Look up here, our density is kilograms per meter cubed. So our units for mass will be kilograms. Part C, find the volume if the density is 1.6 kilograms per meter cubed and the mass is 40 kilograms. Okay, so we want to find the volume, so cover over V. So the sum that we've left is M over D. So that means our volume equals M mass over divided by then density. So our mass is 40 kilograms and our density is 1.6 kilograms per meter cubed, and that gives us 25. Again, think about the units. The units for volume are going to be something like centimeters cubed or meter cubed. So our units for density are kilograms per meter cubed. So our volume will be meters cubed. And part D, then the only way they can make this more complicated is by giving you units to change. So find the volume if the density is 2.8 grams per centimeter cubed and the mass is 2 kilograms. So those units don't match up. So the first thing we have to do is say, well, if our mass is 2 kilograms, that's the same as 2,000 grams. So that's the first thing you do, is to change the units so they match up. And then you say, okay, we're worrying about volume, so cover over V. So the sum that we have left is our volume equals mass divided by density. So our mass in grams is 2,000 and our density is 2.8, and we get 714.3. So then again, think of our units. Our volume is in something cubed, so we can see it should be centimeters cubed. Okay, so our second compound measure then is average speed. So speed, and again, you could have done this in physics or maybe even technology, equals distance over time. And again, we'll have to think about the units. So we could have here meters for distance, which mean our time would have to be in seconds, which means our speed would be in meters per second. We might have kilometers here, so that would make more sense to be in hours. So we'd have kilometers per hour. Or we could have miles. Now, there's no abbreviation for miles. We write the full word out because we don't want to confuse it with M for meters. And miles would be hours as well. Think about like your speed limits in 60 miles an hour and that sort of thing. You wouldn't talk about meters per hour or anything like that. And the units for miles per hour are mph. And similar to density, we can have our triangle speed, distance, time, and we can use that to cover up the one that we're looking for, and that'll give us our formula. Part A, find the average speed if the distance is 30 meters and the time is 6 seconds. So speed is what we're looking for, so cover over your S for speed, and the formula that we have then for speed equals distance over time, or distance divided by time. So our distance is 30 meters, our time is 6 seconds. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And think about the units. We've got meters and seconds. So our units are going to be meters per second. For B, find the average speed if the distance is 80 miles and the time is 2 hours 45 minutes. So the first thing we need to do is to look at our units here. So our time is 2 hours 45 minutes. So we have to think, well, 45 minutes, that's 3/4 of an hour. So it's 2 3/4, or 2.75 hours. The most common mistake that people make with this changing from hours and minutes into hours is to write that as 2.45 hours. That is completely wrong. Remember, there are 60 minutes in an hour, not 100, okay? So 2.45, completely wrong. This is 2 hours and 3/4, so 2.75 hours. Then we say, right, we're looking for speed, so cover over S. So our formula then for speed is distance over time, or distance divided by time. So our distance is 80 divided by 2.75 hours, and we get 29.1. Now this is in miles and in hours, so our units for speed are miles per hour, or mph. Let's see, find the distance travelled at the speed is 20 kilometers per hour and the time is 30 minutes. Again, we'll have to look at the units match. We've got kilometers per hour and minutes, so that doesn't work. So our time, 30 minutes. Well, we know that's half an hour, so 0.5 hours. And then we say, okay, well, what formula we're looking for? So distance covered over D. So that means that our formula for distance equals S times T. So speed times time. So So our speed is 20 times 0.5. So that gives us 10, and our distance then is going to be in kilometres. Part D, find the distance travelled if the speed is 70 metres per second and the time is 3 minutes. So again, we'll check the units to see if they're matched. We've got metres per second and minutes, so that won't work. So our time is 3 minutes. I'll have to change that into seconds. So there's 60 seconds in a minute, so we've got 180 seconds in 3 minutes. And then we'll say, right, well, what's our formula? So it's distance that we're looking for, cover it over, and we're left with distance equals speed times time. Our speed is 70, our time is 180, and that gives us 12,600, and our units are going to be meters. And the last one then, find the time taken if the speed is 50 miles per hour and the distance is 75 miles. So we're looking for time, cover over T in a triangle, and we get that our time equals distance over speed, or distance divided by speed. So that's distance is 75 miles divided by the speed of 50. So we'll get 1.5 hours. Depending on how the question is worded, it's perfectly fine to leave it as 1.5 hours. Sometimes it asks you for it in hours and minutes, so you'll say, well, we've got 1 hour and 0.5 of an hour, which is 30 minutes.